Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the videos to the paid requests. This time from Marv B. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, that's usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Links are in the info box. It could be a topic, a list, a ranking, a tier list, a review, a re-review, a commentary, a video game let's try or playthrough, whatever the case may be. Feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for top 10 horror movie icon versus icon movies that you wish would have been made. Meaning, he even put this in there. You can't say Freddy vs. Jason because that was already made. So versus movies of horror. Icon versus horror icon. What would you like to see a top 10? And to be perfectly honest, I can't make a top 10 of that. Because the versus aspect for horror icons, it's one thing to see maybe a YouTube video that's like 15 minutes long. Okay, you get a chuckle out of it. After Freddy vs. Jason, which I like, but I don't love. I like the film though. It's hard to think of something to be on that level when you think of a versus in horror. Like, honestly, the only one I was thinking of is Ash from Evil Dead versus everybody. So the top two would be like Ash versus Freddy and Jason, Ash versus Leatherface, Ash versus, Michael Myers, Ash versus Hellraiser, Cenobites, by Ash, is like, I'd be like, make Ash versus everybody, Ash versus the horror universe, and make that a series of animated films. If you can't do a live action, make that animated. Like Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash would be the film I wanted to see the most out of that. Maybe because I want a good guy to fight the bad guy. Bad guy versus bad guy is not that intriguing to me. Because they're bad guys. I don't care who wins. Because they're both bad guys. Now again, Freddy vs. Jason is fun to see. And I did it. And I was really excited. And the fight was cool. Don't get me wrong. So that's fun to see. But then the human characters sucked. That's one of my big problems with that film. I think that's what it is. Like, I love the idea. Then I saw Freddy vs. Jason, and I go, okay, there's fun moments in that film, but the film in its entirety has issues that more than likely would be issues for other versus films, especially with villain versus villain. You better have your human characters be really noteworthy. Otherwise, here's your villain, here's your villain. You can like them, of course. Like, I like Freddy, I like Jason because I like their movies, or I like their look, or the way Freddy talks, and Robert Englund's performance. There's that liking, but I just be deep down, they're still bad guys murdering people, and maybe I just have a different mindset of that. So I'm like, I want Ash from Evil Dead versus all of them. I'd be like, okay, Freddy vs. Jason 2, that's Ash versus Freddy vs. Jason. And not like the comic book. I don't like the comic book of that. I don't like the way that story was done. Have it be, okay, Jason comes out of the water with Freddy's head. Freddy is back in needing people to fear him, but people more on guard after the events of Freddy vs. Jason. I like the idea of Ash. He's working housewares. A store opens up in the same location where Freddy and Jason were at. So he goes there. He's kind of forced to go there. Like, yeah, we can't really fire him, but can you just push him over there? So he's just a guy minding his own business. Freddy maybe was able to scare one person, like convince one person, affect one person. Maybe you can even put that Freddy cult that they wanted with Freddy vs. Jason, the original script. Because, I mean, if there's fans of Charles Manson, there's fans of Ted Bundy, maybe there'd be fans of Freddy Krueger. So it's like, yeah, we want to be part of it. We want to be like him, and we'll worship him, and he'll be a god. Like, there's a lot of sicko weirdos out there. So they bring the Necronomicon. Freddy kills them, or kills one of them, or and in their dreams gets their power, then comes back to full force. One of the cult members, they escape. They bring Jason back, and then Jason kills him. Or maybe part of the group splits. They bring Jason, then Jason kills them. And then ultimately, at one point, they fight in the store, and Ash is there, and he gets his ass kicked. But he sees people getting hurt and getting killed. He goes to his trunk, gets his material, his chainsaw, his shotgun, goes in, kicks some ass, and then the story flows throughout. And a Maniac Cop 2, I should say, Maniac Cop 2 type of action aesthetic. Well, I can see at one point Ash getting arrested, and Ash cursing out the cops. Kind of like a funny version of what Kyle Reese did in The Terminator, where he's trying to warn them, but Ash is cursing them out. You fucking idiots, you moron. There's some guy with a damn hockey mask. That goalie's pissed. Which I know is a line from Freddy vs. Jason, so frankly I'm stealing a line from that. And this guy looks like a burnt hamburger. I don't know, he has these weird fingernails, okay? And they don't need no damn manicure. Better lines than what I'm saying. And then Baby Ash has the Necronomicon, but then the cops arrest him and they take that for evidence. No, you idiots! You morons! Listen to me! Then Jason and Freddy... Of course, then Jason would come in and wipe out, because Freddy would still be in the dream world. Unless you have a cop sleeping on the job, and then Freddy either tries to possess him and starts shooting cops, while Jason is annihilating cops, takes out the whole police station, try to one-up the Terminator. And then Ash is like... I just think of like this big... And you could do that animation style too. If you can't do a live action, because I know Bruce Campbell's retired from playing Ash, but I guarantee he would do it voice acting, because you don't have to worry about makeup, you don't have to worry about putting fake blood on you, you don't have to worry about working out, the strenuous physical stunt work, you don't have to worry about any of that, just doing a voice. He's done voices for Ash in video games. Hail to the King, Fistful of Boomstick, Regeneration, the newer Evil Dead game that came out a few years ago. See, he would do the voice. And Robert Englund could do the voice. Hey, Robert, you don't have to put on the makeup, you just do the voice. That'd be... Wow. I don't have to worry about all this makeup? Sign me up. Do it animation style. And they could be good animated films. The Dark Knight Returns with Peter Weller as Batman. Part 1 and Part 2. That's a damn good movie. That's an animated film. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Granted, different rating involved, but I mean, animated films can be good. It says it probably go... Hell, Netflix. Something like that. Make it R-rated. Netflix, you're spending all this damn money, spending on that. Of course, granted, different companies, different rights, but if Sony and Disney can work with Spider-Man, maybe this could work too. Like, come on now. So it had Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. He beats Jason and Freddy's asses. Then honestly, I would have him, with all the chaos that happened, I don't know, somehow he's either takes a trip, or people tell him to take a trip, or he's maybe forced to take a trip down the south to Texas, and lo and behold, comes across Leatherface. I think of like Resident Evil 7, the video game, where the guy's like trapped in this one location in the middle of nowhere with this weird family. It could be like this kind of mansion left out in the middle of nowhere. Only Leatherface and his clan live there. And then Ash has to deal with these guys. You even have someone like the Resident Evil 7 video game where lots of Ash in a room and there's all these traps he's got to deal with his, but he deals with his own smart ass ways. And then toe to toe chainsaw the chainsaw fight, kind of like that fight in what's that movie? Motel Hell. There was a comic book that was cool. I didn't like the way it ended because it was Ash kills the full moon universe, or Ash got into the full moon universe and just killed the puppets, the puppet master, the like all those guys. He just killed one by one by one by one because he wants to defeat evil. Now by the end of, was it 4, 5, 6 issues, they kind of go, well, you shouldn't have done that. That wasn't the right thing to do. I think it was like Tim Thomerson transfers Jack Death, said that was the wrong thing for you to do. So we gotta set things right because it's balance. And it's like Charles Band, no, you can't kill them for good. I'm like, this isn't canon. This is a comic book. Just let the comic book. It's not like it's going to affect your movies in terms of canon. But maybe it's like, well, there's people who like these characters and they'd be pissed off if they were dead. I'm like, no, they wouldn't. It's a what-if story. Were people pissed off of what if Punisher kills the Marvel Universe? Maybe some were, but, some liked it. This is a what-if story. Imagine what if Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. Punisher wakes up and everything was a dream. Or, go back in time, stop yourself from doing it, and everybody's alive. It just, I don't know. It seemed like a cop-out, so I didn't like the way that comic book ended, so I would end it a different way. But yeah, I mean, Ash, maybe teaming up with Jack Death, or Dollman. There you go, Ash and Dollman teaming up versus the Full Moon Universe. Give me my money, I'll pay $100 to see that movie. Bruce Campbell and Tim Thomerson working together. If you don't want to use Dollman, you use Jack Death from Trancers. Which maybe that could be cool because that way they're in the same scene. Because obviously if it's Dollman, it's a special effect. But at the same time, they just don't talk to each other, verbally spar with each other. And that'd be funny. I just think of Dollman on Bruce Campbell's shoulder. Like, that's the poster. Like, Bruce Campbell with the chainsaw and the shotgun, and Jack Death with the most powerful handgun in the universe. Dollman with the most powerful gun in the universe on his shoulder. And then just all the full moon bad guys coming after them. Right, I'm sure most people are like, who gives a shit about the full moon villains? Exactly, just kill them all. There'd be a lot of death and destruction. More carnage, more mayhem. I want to see that movie. Ash versus, Hellraiser. I don't know how you would get him there to begin with. But I mean, I just imagine he goes to hell or whatever, and then he's trapped in the first or second Evil Dead movie. I just think the sky's the limit with that. So that would be like all my top 10. Because I'm trying to think, like, I mean, maybe Gremlins versus Critters. I guess maybe. A Gremlins Critters movie, so Gizmo would be the good guy. I just think of Gizmo getting his bow and arrow from Gremlins 2 and shooting it at, well, I guess it was a bow and arrow. I think of the video game Gremlins 2. But he kind of makes himself a little one and shoots it, so I'm kind of right. They pushed him too far. Him doing that to the Critters, that'd be kind of entertaining. But I'm not like, oh, please make that movie, I would see it, though, sure. Gremlins versus Critters, why not? How would a gremlin and a critter fight each other. I mean, a lot of people like they mention like, what about Jason versus Michael Myers? Honestly, that sounds like the most boring movie ever. It because they don't talk, they don't have personality. The fight, they barely move. They stab each other. Okay, stab, stab, stab again, stab again, stab some more, stab some more. After a minute, you would get bored. That's why I think that probably works best as like a fan film type of thing. But as a full length film, it's like, okay, the fight's not gonna last more than 3 minutes, if that. They can't talk, so you better have some decent human characters. That idea never interested me. What, Jason versus Leatherface? I mean, that's the thing. You say movies, maybe in a movie and with a bunch of horror characters, and oh, that'd be a fun fight to see. But again, we're saying, oh, that'd be a fun fight to see, not a full movie to see, at least for me. A fun fight in a movie with a bunch of other stuff going on. Chucky versus Leprechaun, no, Leprechaun sucks. I remember I looked at a list and they're like, how about Michael Myers versus Ghostface? And I'm sitting there going, the guy who wrote it was a Screen Rant. The guy who wrote this article is a moron. He's a dumbass. Like, you don't remember that Michael Myers was in Scream because Halloween was a movie that they're watching? So they're watching the movie Halloween with Michael Myers. How would Michael Myers be in the Ghostface Scream universe? And the guy didn't explain it, and apparently he just forgot, I guess. I'm like, wow, congrats on getting paid for that. Stupid idea. I mean, the crossovers I would want to see is like RoboCop versus Terminator or Rambo versus Predator. But that's not horror icon versus horror icon, which is what he asked. But again, if you ask me the verses I want to see, Rambo versus the Predator, because Sylvester Stallone in a monster movie, horror movie, would be cool to see. And I mean, Rambo versus Predator would have been a lot better than Rambo 5. I'll say that. And then RoboCop versus Terminator, do it animated. Peter Weller voiced RoboCop in the Mortal Kombat video game, voiced him in the KFC commercial. And Arnold could do the Terminator voice. RoboCop versus Terminator. You can even, just, we could do that. The characters are on the run. They pass through Detroit. They're being attacked by a Terminator. RoboCop saves them. More Terminators come, and he's got to fight them while protecting. Uphold the law. Protect the innocent. And you do that animated. You don't have to do a live action. So yeah, RoboCop versus Terminator, Rambo versus Predator would be the ones I would want to see. Like Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, RoboCop versus Terminator, and Rambo versus Predator. They'd be the three I would want to see. But I do want to see Ash kills the Full Moon Universe, because the Full Moon Universe deserves to die. Let Ash kill them all. Ash versus everybody, like the horror universe. There you go, with all these multiverse films being made. Why can't we have that animated style? Ash versus the horror multiverse. Ash kills everybody. I want to see that movie. Again, just the other stuff never appealed to me. Again, Jason versus Michael Myers, I thought maybe it could be a fun fight for a couple minutes, but not as a full movie. I mean, I could name other stuff, but that are not really icons of horror. Like, that's the thing. What's a horror icon? What, Jigsaw versus the Collector? That'd be a boring fight, because all they do is make traps. So, okay, they both make traps, and then the other's in the other's traps, and What kind of movie fight is that? I'm trying to think. Candyman versus well, Candyman's not really a fighter, and you're like, okay, well, what the hell would that be? That wouldn't be interesting to me. Candyman versus any unless it's Ash. I'm just trying to think like Chucky versus anybody. No, because if his I did unless it's Ash and Ash kicks him in the face and shoots him with the shotgun. Keeps calling him kid because he looks like a kid. It's a shotgun, kid. Get out of here, you know. Keeps calling him kid to piss Chucky off. That's for me. Like a lot of it would not entice me, other than the ones I mentioned. But that's just me. But yeah, Ash. I love to see those movies made. Yeah, make them animated. Why not? But it is what it is. It's rights issues, and they feel lack of interest, and no one really has come up with the idea. So, go figure. The idea of making these into animated films and pitching them to people, like no one's done that idea. It's too bad. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.